almost popped as it was going through the gears. So it'll be interesting if they get this thing fixed. But talking about a guy that's been perfect, Mike, this is perfection right now as far as our point leader, Kurt Busch.
The Sharpie Ford for Kurt Busch, our next qualifier. Average finish in the chase, 4.3. First, fifth, sixth, fourth, fifth. He's led every chase race, led the most laps at Loudon and at Martinsville. Only 2 DNFs this season.
See what he does on his first lap. Going to be 20th quickest. That's about where he practiced. Picked up about a 10th. And this team is always so strong at the end. If you go back 2 years ago in 2002, this team won 3 of the last races, including here at Atlanta.
And Larry, I had the privilege of coming here when his rookie year and testing with Kurt here, and he loves this racetrack. It's just his type of racetrack. He really understands how this racetrack needs to be laid out, how to attack the corners. He's very methodical. He slows down a little bit on his second lap, but I can promise you he and Jimmie Finnick will come up with a combination, will get that Sharpie Ford up toward the front come race day.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. that you see walking with a Budweiser uniform on, that's Martin Truex Jr., who will be driving the Budweiser car this weekend, be qualifying the car.
Boy, that looked good. I don't know what the chase says, but that sure looked good. It says it looked good.
It says it looks real good. Green, green, green for Jimmie Johnson.
By the way, that is Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s uniform, but it's Martin Truex Jr. in it. Yeah.
Different body in it.
Go, man. First lap.
Look at here.
Jimmie Johnson, 4th fastest in practice.
On the pole now.
Trying to win 3 straight here at this New Hampshire International Speedway after sweeping the races here in 2003.
Quicker.
And you know, this is based on his first lap, so it's a little bit quicker.
Yep. Ooh, he's on that rear limiter. That means he got off of turn 2 really well.
Johnson won the Bud Pole at the Lowe's Motor Speedway Charlotte back Memorial Weekend for the Coca-Cola 600s.
Flying.
Look at this. He's almost as fast as Ryan Newman was in practice.
28.85.
Wow. Good lap, Jimmie. Chad, way to go, guys. Great race car.
Jimmie Johnson started 6th and 8th in his 2 winning runs here a year ago, and he's on the pole right now after 20 of 45 drivers have made their Bud Pole qualifying run.
But Tony gets off to a good start at Daytona, finishing 2nd, unlike 2001 and 2002.
But even last year, in the first part of the year, he was running great. He had the car to beat a number of times, had a couple of engine failures and a couple of wrecks, and just had a lot of bad luck early on.
Jeff Gordon in the DuPont Chevy. 14 straight top 10 starts at this track, including 11 top 5s, 2 poles among them. That streak went from 95 to 01. And now...
And the streak just went to the top.
He is on the pole right now to 23.72, and he feels like that's all I've got, boys, right there.
And coming out of 2, he left about a dollar bill's worth of thickness between his fender and the wall. He used all the racetrack.
Says he's going to beat you on this.
Yeah, I don't think so. Todd's got a long winter ahead of him, and if he's not going to shave until I let my hair grow. So we'll see what happens. I'm not cutting out anytime soon.
Very good, guys.
Okay. Mark Martin in the Roush Viagra Ford, 17 top 10 starts here. 13th at New Hampshire, 2nd at Dover. He's moved from 8th at the beginning of the chase to now 5th, 57 points out of 1st.
We have his crew chief, Pat Trice, and we're going to talk to Pat a little bit. Pat, I looked at the practice sheet. I almost had to flip it upside down to find you guys on the speed charts. Jeff Hammond was talking a while ago about teams holding just a little bit. That's something maybe you guys doing in practice?
I hope we were. We don't think we were. We were trying hard as we could, but you know how it goes. You got to try to get as much through as you can, and hopefully we got enough through that we can pick up a little bit. But if not, we'll race real good with this car. It's the car we run here in the spring, so we feel pretty good about it.
6th place finish in the spring after a 6th place start, so pretty good piece.
Pretty good piece, yeah, in the spring. But the one thing I'm noticing right now, Pat, watching your car going around the racetrack.
51.30.
51.30. He calls out to Mark from his first lap. And,
Pat, you got to be pretty happy with that lap there, because that's the first lap, and that's quicker than anything you ran in practice, knowing he's going to pick up 5, 6, 7 tenths on his second lap.
Yeah, I mean, we feel pretty good about that lap. Like I said, we changed a couple things for qualifying. You know, we thought maybe we had a little something wrong, but seems like it's picking up, so I feel pretty good about that lap right there.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was up in the truck a little earlier with you guys and Jack, and they were talking about how you like to hold just a little bit and kind of like show it then. But like I say, late in practice, it looked like you'd held it maybe a little bit too long, but right now she's looking pretty good, Matt.
Man, looks like it's going to be in about the 50s. Looks like going to be a good lap for you. 50-63, third quickest, buddy.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate that.
Thank you for talking to us.
50-63 for Mark, 64 for Jeff Green, 67. That's hundredths of a second for Ricky Craven.
Wonder what hat he'll wear next week.
Let's see. Who do the Redskins play this week?
I don't know. Check that schedule, Thumper. Get online.
The Bears. Oh, excuse me. The Bears.
He has one man designated to go buy these hats every week, every Monday.
Dale Jr., second in points, just 29 markers out of first to Kurt Busch. And I think you heard the interview. You'd have to say if there is one track they fear out of these 10, this is it.
You think so?
Sounded like.
I don't know.
And you think back that he has run well at tracks this year. You know, he won the Atlanta race back in the spring.
Yeah, I think right now, Mike, they didn't come here and test because I think they know that they can get the handle. I believe they feel like they can work through this, and I think their approach was just a little bit different. His first lap, he's 10th quickest.
He had a decent lap going right there, and he lost it all on exit of turn 4, had to get out of the throttle, and it just killed the straightaway speed on that second lap.
Tony Stewart in the Home Depot Chevy. This has been a good racetrack for the Gibbs cars. It's been 6 races here since Tony finished out of the top 10. In fact, he's got 4 straight top 5s, including that win in the fall of '02.
And started this season off probably as good as he has started any season, finishing second at Daytona. Bobbled a little bit at Rockingham, third last week, and he's sitting there second in the points right now, just behind leader Matt Kenseth.
In the last 4 races here, he's led. Last 5 races, 310 laps.
Always been very dominant. He was 18th quickest in practice. This car has a new body on it, but the chassis pretty much spent most of the year last year riding around as a backup car for the 20 team in the front of the hall.
29-17.
But a lot like his teammate, when they drop that green flag, I bet he won't be back there about 17th very long.
No, they got the magic on these tracks like this, Charlotte, some of these mile and a halves. I guarantee you they'll be up there leading the race.
And he'll be right around the bottom of the racetrack.
Left wheel below the white line.
Looks like he's going to about run what he did that first lap. Exactly what he ran.
To the 1,000th of a second, almost. Who was it that said, I drove it in till I saw Elvis, then lifted?
Here's a guy that'll do it.
Light the fuse. Here comes the rocket. Looking for his 8th pole of 2004. Ryan Newman seeking his 3rd consecutive pole in the Alltel Mobile 1 Dodge.
You know, we call him the Rocket Man, but I was looking through a book that has just been recently published on Ryan Newman. And they used to call him Racing Ryan back when he was young. I mean, a lot younger than now, back when his midget days and little quarter midget stuff. It's really impressive to watch him, the way he's able to find speed. Right now, we're green lighted, guys, as he rolls off down there in turn 3 and 4. Let's see if he can get it back to the start-finish line and back up that fast time this afternoon.
Where he's so strong is off the corner. That's where this clock continues to get faster there. This is going to be a pole run right here, I believe, boys. It is 28.95, just barely, but he did beat Joe Nemechek.
By 0.02 of a second.
And he has 5 consecutive starts here of 6 or better, including the last 3 Bud Poles. No one has ever won 4 consecutive Bud Poles here at Atlanta.
The last time anyone won 4 consecutive poles at one racetrack was Mark Martin at Bristol, who won both poles in '95 and both poles in '96 as the second lap faster.
And he's quicker just by a little bit.
Yes, it is.
Be enough.
And guys, he got it right at the start-finish line. That light trip back green, so he picked up just a little bit off of turn 4.
Of course, he's going for 3 consecutive Bud poles in a row. New track records at Lowe's and Martinsville last week.
And if I read this right, he has won a pole once out of every 4 times he has been in a Cup race that has had time trials completed.
And that is the reason why we call him the Rocket Man.
Fastest lap, so they were committed kind of like to go on new tires, so a lot of indecision in the garage area.
Use the word borderline. The thing I keep watching in this qualifying chart right now with 10 cars to go, Jimmie Johnson, the hottest man on the circuit here these last 4 or 5 weeks, is sitting back there right now 29th. And when you look his other 2 competitors, Jeff Gordon's 2nd, Mark Martin is 7th. So if qualifying ended now, Jimmie Johnson would have his work cut out for him on Sunday.
Believe it or not, Jimmie Johnson still has to run faster than 1 more car to make the show on time.
Yeah, and what happens all of a sudden if you have to take a provisional in the last race of the season when you're running for the NEXTEL Cup Championship? That doesn't mentally help your effort very much.
Matt Kenseth is the defending Cup champion. He's in the chase for the championship, but with only 1 top 10 finish in those 9 races and 3 DNFs for the Dewalt Ford.
Yeah, I mean, he started this chase off at Loudon, I think, with a top 2 or 3 finish, but it has been downhill from there. And right now, Matt will be 32nd quickest. This place has not been good to Matt, either configuration.
No.
4 starts, he's finished 21st or worse in all 4, including 2 DNFs.
Let's give you the bump list. Jeffrey Bodine did not make a qualifying pass. He goes home along with Larry Foyt and J.J. Yaley. Also bumped from the top 38. Morgan Shepherd, Kirk Shelmerdine, Carl Long. Casey Mears crashed. Terry Labonte's been bumped. And so certainly Labonte and Mears will take 2 of the 5 provisionals. And a bit of smoke here.
Well, he picked up 2 tenths on that 2nd lap, and that picked him up about 7 or 8 positions. Now he'll be 22nd quickest, another car that has beat Jimmie Johnson.
You saw Boris Said, who despite trouble in the first part of his lap came back to finish 13.
Yeah, he did. He made up a ton of time from turn 4 all the way back to the start line. He lost a lot of time going up top of the hill, but he made it all up.
Yeah, the first part of that lap, if you're an aspiring road racer, that was all the things not to do.
Yep. Don't try this at home. Elliott Sadler is all up and down on the chart here. The Evernham's Ford.
Had a little mishap in practice. He spun up there in the S's and got off in the dirt. Didn't hit anything. Looks like it's going to be a pretty solid run for Elliott. Brand new race car. They came out here and tested.
Well, he's got probably some difficult spots here to maneuver through yet. Getting down here around out of the S's and down into turn 10.
He's never started here in the top 20. See if he can change that.
Right here is where he had the problem in practice. Gets through there okay.
Wide right here, a little wide. Just had to really slow down right there. You see it on the tracker.
He had a real early apex, Darrell, there, and it hurt him at the exit.
Looks like if he can get off turn 11, though, this would be a good top 15 starting spot for him.
Now, he did get in the throttle nice and early there and was able to accelerate out of that corner well.
12th quickest.
That turned out to be a lot better than it all looked.
Yeah, really the only place I think he lost a lot of time was 10, and it looked like I think he thought he was going to go off there. He really had to get hard on the brakes, stay on the racetrack.
Speaking of dodging things, here's the Ray Evernham Dodge Dealers Dodge for Jeremy Mayfield.
This is definitely one of the bullets that Ryan Newman should be watching because he was 4th quickest in practice.
And now the entire track is in shade and the lights begin to come on.
I don't know, Larry. I mean, he's 35 years old.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Wish I was.
And look how it's already getting late.
Well, let's see if we're keeping him up. 16th, 29-28 for Mayfield.
They're going to grease up the old Walker when he gets out of the car.
Adjust the mirrors on it.
That's right. His GPS isn't working either.
I don't know if they didn't try to sell Dick that Walker. Good thing.
Dick's already got one.
Dick had put a wing on it.
Well, Jeremy made his very first career start here in October of 1993 at Lowe's Motor Speedway. See if he picks it up on his 2nd lap. Picks it up a little bit, moves up to 13th quickest at a 29.22.
Of course, he was only 24 then.
Yeah. That's 38 cars that have been under the qualifying clock, so we'll now begin the bumping process.